Hi, it's Anne, and we're almost ready for the holidays. Can you believe it? Christmas is almost here, Hanukkah is almost here, and we are going to celebrate the wrapping up of this little 15-part holiday junk journal craft series with the return of the kooky little birds. If you've been with me for a while, you might remember that back in March, I had a video about these easy little whimsical birds that we could make out of folding a paper circle. We're going to go back to those today and do them with a holiday twist. I'll put a link if you haven't seen that. I will tell you, the lighting is terrible. It was before I got my ring light that I have now, and I made the chicken's leg going, or the bird's leg going backwards, which many people very helpfully pointed out to me I had done incorrectly. I learned a lot. We had a lot of fun with these birds, and a lot of people started doing them. I didn't invent these. I saw them somewhere on Pinterest. They've been kicking around the card making world for a long time. Anyway, they return today in holiday form. So we are going to make, I believe, a journal card, and maybe I'm going to do it, maybe, there's no suspense here. I have this already. This is just a piece of music paper that I put gesso on, which is my usual mode to because music paper, especially this this miniature form, I guess I have it upside. Oh no, I have it. There we go. It's not DD, it's PP for pianissimo. I have it glued on just a piece of file folder. I will put some blank paper on here for journaling when I'm done, but you know how that whole routine goes. So I'm going to use this as my base, and let me just round the corners so we can get started on this. This was actually an idea that came from something that our dear viewer Marcia in Brazil had suggested some months ago as a way to sort of revisit some of the whimsical animals that I've done. And I thought it was such a good idea that I wanted to wrap up the series with that. So thank you, Marcia. It is not winter for you. You're sitting in Brazil, sipping your coffee and enjoying the first days of summer. So lots of different ways to be, depending on where we are in the world. These are so simple. They're just sort of crazy. But you can use larger circles too, but I just punched out a bunch of 2-inch circles out of double-sided. This is scrapbook paper. I also have some thin paper that I glued book page on the back, but this happens to be a double-sided paper. So I'm going, let's see, I think I want to have this stripy side be the underbelly for my little bird. So I'm going to fold it not quite in half. I'm going to fold it about like that. And that's the body of our little bird. I am going to ink the edges. And we'll need to draw an eye on it. I like to use, you could use an acrylic, white acrylic marker. I like using this little jelly roll pen, and then I keep a Sharpie handy. This bird is going to be probably about here. Let me cut a beak for it, and I just use a scrap of mailing envelope that's in a nice kind of a yellowish manila sort of hue, and I just cut a little V like that. There's a fair amount of handling of tiny bits in this project. Let's get its beak glued in there, and then we're going to get on to the real holiday portion of this. I'm just putting a little dab of glue just underneath the fold there, and I'm going to nestle that little beak right there, right up next to the fold, so that part of it is sticking out. Did I get the side that was inked? Yes, I guess I did. It's almost indistinct the way it's inked. And let's go ahead and glue down this flap. I'm not going to glue all the way to the edge because I like visually a little bit of that paper being raised right around the edge. And as long as we're here, let's go ahead and give the eye to our sweet little bird. And the rest is going to be glued down in a moment. These ink gel pens, these white gel pens work so nicely. You could put a little gem or something there. We'll put the pupil in, or I guess it's more likely the iris after that white has died. I'm going to set this aside. I'll put them here so you can still see it and it can see you. Let's go back to our card. What I want to do, there's two holiday-oriented things that I want to do with this card. And again, this is inspired by something I saw kind of on Pinterest. So please don't, you're always so generous saying, oh yeah, that's the best idea. You know, there are things that I see elsewhere and I just put my own twist on them. So this is nothing to credit me for. They're just inspired by ideas that I have seen in other places. We're going to give put a present in this situation. And what I've done to make a little present is I just took a little piece of cardstock off a junk mail flyer, pasted some brown packing paper on and stamped it so it has a little bit of a motif. And then I tied twine around it. I'm not doing the actual present assembly here on camera because honestly, it took me forever to tie this little twine bow because my fingers are not small fingers. And I was, and I've had a lot of coffee and yeah, that just didn't really work. You would not have been interested in seeing me fumble making this bow. So I just made this one and you just have to trust me that it's very easy. Cardstock, brown paper on top, glue that on, stamp it for decoration, cut it into whatever size rectangle you want. It looks like it's a little more than 1.5 inches by about 1 inch, but obviously whatever suits your card that you're making. And then just tie a piece of baker's twine, narrow ribbon, or anything else you want to pretty up that little present. So we're going to get that positioned right about there. And let's go ahead and glue that down. I think because this is a little bit thick, I think I'm going to use my 3-in-1 glue, otherwise known as Fabri-Tac or Fabrifix, brought to us by the fine folks at Beacon. Not a sponsor. I'm just an enthusiast, as are probably many of you. And it's just the strongest of the junk journal glues that we have. And because there's a little bit of raised area because I have that twine there, I did want an extra strong glue. So here is this little present, and our little bird is going to be sitting here. And I'm going to pull this, I think I'm going to give it a little space for some legs, and I'm going to put the end of this twine here as if the bird is tying the bow. Isn't it clever? Hopefully it's a little more dexterous than I am. I'm just going to put a little bead of art glitter glue there. It dries clear. I just want to gently anchor down. That baker's twine, and I might come back and cut off the excess. But visually it helps to fill in a few gaps here. Just dab it gently in place. It might come loose later. You can adhere it. It might undergo a little bit of stress going in and out of your junk journal, but I think we're going to put this about like that. And I want to have that little beak over that twine so we look like we're grasping it. But I want to have it not too close to the present, because I do want to draw some legs in. All right, now I'm going to take my Sharpie because my eye has dried there. So we'll give that, well, I think it's dried there anyway. Get my Sharpie going again. Looks like it was taking a bit of a vacation. I'm going to switch to a gel pen. It doesn't seem to want to mark there very well. Well, there's always another black pen handy, isn't there? There we go. Just a few little dots. Look, it can see. And do I want to use this? I think I'll use this pen to draw the legs in. I'm just going to kind of pull the baker's twine down, and I'm going to make the legs come back, because they don't bend like human legs. They're not like our knees. And back and forward. Use a thicker marker if you wish. This was just handy. Couple little talons there. Now this would be cute enough, but oh, let's see, I need to get the tail on there. What I like to use for the tail is a little bit of a heart stamp, like I did here. You can see, and then I also use that heart to make that kind of crown, because this one is sort of chicken-like. Not a crown as much as it is, I don't know, what do they call that thing on top of a chicken's head or a rooster's head? All right, let's get this heart in there for its little tail. Now, the crowning glory is not going to be the heart for this particular bird. It's going to be a Santa hat. And this is what Marcia suggested. And I thought it was such a cute idea, and it's so easy. I just took a little piece of white paper, and this, the key is to get it small enough, because you don't want it so disproportionate that it's going to completely, swallow up our little bird. I just took this little strip of, this is an embossed white paper, white cardstock, and I'm just going to tear off a little bit here, and this is going to be the cuff of the Santa hat. This is just about an inch wide. I think it's about an inch. Yeah, an inchish. That's not a measurement that's approved by the National Board of Weights and Measures, inchish. But I think that is going to be fine there for that little cuff. Now I have a scrap of red paper. Oh, here it is. Red paper that has a little bit of, this is very lightweight paper, solid red on one side, and a little bit of a gold print. And I'm just going to cut this into a triangle, much like you would have for a Santa hat. And it looks like it's going to be sticking way up off the top, but I'm actually going to fold it down, so it has a little bit of motion going there. I think that looks pretty cute. I think I need this cuff just a tiny bit more narrow. There's no need to really be so persnickety about it, but I like proportions. Not that I mean, sometimes lack of proportion or unexpected proportion that's often one of the, the keys to whimsical artwork. So I'm not too worried about it. But still, I think I like it when it's just slightly more narrow. I don't know that really made any difference, But let's get this little triangle inked up and glued down. And then we will have a cute little Santa hat. I think I'm actually going to glue the edge down onto the red just to make certain that that cuff covers the red portion of the hat. And then we will glue this down. Anyway, Marcia some time ago said, Anne, what if your whimsical animals were wearing Santa hats? And that what if just stuck with me. And I thought, yes, yes, indeed, they can do so. And now, in one of the scraps I have left over, I'm going to take my very small 1/2 inch circle punch. And we'll put a little pom-pom on the end of this Santa hat. Aren't these easy? They're just a pleasure to make. If you have a circle punch, or you can just draw around something and cut it out by hand. If you have anything like that, you will have so much fun making these little birds, no matter what season you're making them in. There's our little journal card. And I guess I should give it a little bit of a haircut. So that twine isn't flopping all over the place. Oh, isn't they? Oh, they're just so cute. They're just so cute. I really like these little birds. And what fun. Here's the summertime bird. Here's the wintertime bird. Now, what if Santa is not part of your holiday tradition? Or maybe you just want something kind of wintry. Can you use this idea? Yes, you absolutely can. Let's set this one aside and let's take one in a different sort of a theme that might suit better whatever holiday or winter traditions you have. I want this to look really wintry, so I thought I might use, I have another piece of file folder, and I just glued a piece of thin paper on top of it that just kind of looks like snow. I don't know if it's supposed to be snow or not. It's just light gray and looks wintry, and we're going to put sort of a colorful bluebird on there. At least I think it's going to turn out to be blue. I have several pieces of paper over here. This isn't so much for the wintry bird, but this would be cute as a little bird too, wouldn't it? This is a piece of brayer off paper that I did from gel printing, and I just glued that to a dyed book page. And I think that would look really, really sweet on something like this with its beak and its tail. Anyway, I'm sidetracking myself. Let's get back to the bird. The non-Santa, but the still festive holiday bird. Yes, Christmas and Hanukkah are almost on top of each other this year. I believe the first night of Hanukkah is the night of the 25th, so room for lots and lots of festive celebrations. I have a piece of book page that's just been painted and gessoed, not jainted and pessoed. Coming back with my 2-inch punch, and I glued some of this kind of snowflakey paper on the back. And let's just see how this looks. Getting little leavings off of this thing. It's getting a little crumbly. I want the blue to be the dominant color. So let's fold this down. It looks like, oh, it looks like I've got a little bit of cracking there. That is not the best. I could turn it the other way, but I really want that blue to be the dominant color. I might take a different approach here, because can you see what happened here? That book page just crackled up. Fortunately, I can punch another circle. And if you let's see this, it would look, if this was not all crackly, this wing would be coming down like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off a portion of this blue circle. And I'm just going to have it not be folded at the top. I want it less than half. So it's going to be just cut at the top. There. That will work. That blue is dominant. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that's really not going to work. Yeah, I can maybe cut this off and use it for another portion of a wing, but that's going to give us exactly the same effect. Where is my beak paper? Here it is. And a little bit of distressing. Yeah, that one where the paper cracked, that was distressing in real time, wasn't it? That's okay. There's always a fix with paper. And normally I would be doing this up next to the fold. Now I'm just getting it put up there next to that edge, almost to it. That beak sticking out, and let's put our top wing there. So this does show you don't really have to have double-sided paper. It's convenient to have double-sided paper, but you can also do a little bit of patching and layering to put them together. Get that eased up there so that that red isn't showing, but this darn art glitter glue dries so fast it might have grabbed already. Yeah, that's going to do. Time for the eye. And we will let the eye dry. Now, I think that's going to be nice and a fair amount of contrast. Here is the present that's stamped in navy blue, but it just looks like brown. And maybe we'll make this one be a little bit taller. There's my long strings that we will deal with momentarily. Yeah, everybody has been so great about this holiday series. It really was fun for me to do. So we will now be going back to the 2 video a week schedule. You'll continue to get a video from me on Tuesdays and on Fridays, because this holiday series was only through the holidays. It has been really fun for me, though, to sort of group my holiday-related projects onto this this Saturday schedule, because you know, not everybody does holiday crafting. Not everybody has the same holidays. You know, I didn't want to just thrust my Christmassiness on everyone, because that wouldn't have been appropriate either. I think I'm going to give this bird some pretty long legs. What about the headgear? No Santa hat for this one, but what about if we gave it a little bit of a wintry, like a a stocking cap. That I think would be great. He's just out celebrating a fun day outside in the snow. So I got out this striped, this was just a scrap of scrapbook. And I'm going to take a 1-inch circle punch, but again, you do not need the punch. You can use a pencil and draw around it. I don't need the full circle, so that's going to be about like that. Does that look like a stocking cap? Well, it will when I get a fuzzy cuff on it. And here's my little cuff paper. I've knit so many hats over the years, and if you're a knitter, I'm sure you have too. But do you know what? I remember growing up, girls didn't wear stocking caps. Isn't that crazy? I think the only stocking cap we had in the house was my brother's, and it was blue and had a pom-pom on it. And sometimes I used to borrow it if I was going outside to play in the snow. And but girls, we wore headscarves, like wool headscarves that tied under our chin, or we wore ear warmers. Remember that? They were like on a little, like a little wire with the things that went over our ears, and those like kind of, you know, Princess Leia looking little things that were fuzzy. We wore ear warmers or we wore headscarves. I never had a stocking cap as a kid, and we grew up in the cold. I mean, it was Nebraska, but it just wasn't the fashion for little girls. I don't know why we were so impossibly gendered in our, yeah, that Sharpie is not wanting to work on that dried paint, but the gel pen is working okay. Yes, I mean, I've been wearing stocking caps as an adult, of course. I knit them, you know. I don't know why that was, but girls wore headscarves that we tied under our chins. So unflattering. Or those ear warmers. I just think that it's just so funny to look back on. Tell me, what did you, if you were a little girl in the Midwest in the 50s and 60s, did you too wear ear warmers? There we go. I think it's time that I glued this little guy in place and get him assembled. And whoops, I almost untied my little blue twine here. Oh, I don't know why this was so fiddly for me to do. Can you imagine? I can do lots of crafts, but I was struggling with that. Yeah, that's going to come up just about like that. So I got my ink spread out a little too wide there, so let's come back in and let our little bird grab that. I like to actually just shove it, just tuck it gently there underneath his beak. And a little bit of the trailing strand down here. You could do all kinds of other stamping. Oh, golly. I smudged a little bit of ink there because I had ink on my fingers. I'll go through and do a little distressing, and that'll get easily swallowed up. There's this little stocking cap with his pom-pom. And let's glue that in place, and then I'll ink his tail and draw in his legs. The other thing about I may have mentioned this before, as I talk about 1960s elementary school fashion, but of course girls couldn't wear slacks. That just wasn't appropriate. And walking to school, elementary school in our little town, on a cold winter's day, I would wear corduroy pants under my dress. I think I've talked about that before, so I don't mean to go on and on about it. I am over it. It's, it's been 60 years since I've had to wear corduroy pants under my dress to school. So, no hard feelings, but it is funny to look back on. Let me see if this Sharpie, I think this Sharpie might be wearing out. So I think I'm going to just use my regular gel pen. And a little bit of a bend on this one. He is ready. He is warm. He might need corduroy pants on his legs, but he is ready for some fun. I have lots of little bits and pieces here on my desk, it looks like. But let's enjoy our little birds here. Oh, they're so cute. I just want to look at them and just think, thanks for flying in, little guys. So you can make these obviously any time of the year. You could be cute with a little baseball cap, maybe. Thank you to Marcia for the cute idea of how to put a holiday spin on our little whimsical animals. I'm going to open up my journal and see if I can find a spot for these. This might be, I've added a few pockets. This is, just out of scraps I had around and in my little kit. That looks pretty cute. Do I have another pocket? Something I cut off of a Christmas card. Yes, I think that's cute. His little tail feathers are sticking out, but he makes us want to pull him out. That is it for this holiday series. I'm so glad that you guys were here. And thanks for all your comments and all your participation. And it was so much fun knowing that you took some of these ideas and that you are incorporating them in your own holiday crafting and hopefully year-round crafting too. Thanks so much. Happy holidays to everyone.